Hey everyone, my name is Stefan Jandro Smith. I'm a senior product marketing manager at Zowie, and I'm joined here today by Maciek Chałek, the chief product technology officer at Zowie, and Dan Caldwell, the team lead for Klaviyo's technology partnerships. I just wanted to start by saying thank you for taking the time today to join our webinar. Today we're going to be discussing how brands can unlock e-commerce growth, leveraging conversational approaches. The webinar itself is going to be broken down into three sections. First, we'll be discussing the transformation from customer support to customer experience and the implications and requirements that come along with this shift. We'll then walk through a quick demo of personalized conversational support, leveraging Zowie and Klaviyo's new integration and all the other cool features that come along with that. And finally, we're going to have a short discussion with both Maciek and Dan about the importance of conversational approaches in support and marketing and where they see the industry heading. Some quick housekeeping. If you have any questions during the session, there's a Q&A functionality built directly into the platform. Please submit your questions there, and we'll leave some time at the end to get through them. If we're not able to get through all the questions by the end of the webinar, we'll make sure to follow up with you directly afterwards. Awesome. To kick things off, the transformation from customer support to customer experience has been a really hot topic over recent years, but it's gained a lot of traction and momentum over the past 12 months. This transformation has really been built on three key pillars. And so the first being proactive outreach is becoming increasingly important, making sure that brands are investing in ways to connect with customers, not just after they make a purchase, but all along the way until they actually do decide to make a purchase. The second pillar is personalization. And I know probably many of the people on this call are familiar with the term, but the shift from personalization to hyper-personalization. So not just basing any personalization decisions based off of a cohort of customers, but really ensuring that the buying experience is personalized based on the individual customer needs and requirements. And then finally, the third pillar is really focused on omnichannel engagement. And of course, this has been a huge talking point across the industry over the last number of years, but has become super, super important over the probably past 2 to 3 years, and making sure that you can really meet customers on any channel, wherever they are, based on their specific or their individual preferences. And the thing with these pillars is that they've been built in direct response to customer needs and expectations. I think from a proactive perspective, when we think, or this number is widely known in the industry, but it's something that we like to talk through a bit. Only 3.68% of site traffic that lands on a page ends up converting. And it's often because buyers don't receive the buying guidance that they need once they land on a site. The second piece is also personalization is getting the bar for personalization is getting increasingly higher. And customers are frustrated when they don't receive personalized offers. In general, when we look at the data, it's about 76% of customers who get frustrated when they don't receive hyper-personalized recommendations specifically targeted towards them. And then finally, this is one of my favorite personal statistics because it really speaks to how customer behavior is shifting. 50% of customers that use more than will use more than 4 digital channels in order to make a purchase. So the requirement for building out these omnipresent, omnichannel interactions is becoming increasingly important from a brand's perspective in order to grow and really meet their customers wherever they are. And so the question begs, or kind of follows this, is how do brands meet the needs of customers who expect this proactive engagement, these hyper-personalized experiences, and these omnichannel interactions? And the answer is really through these proactive, personalized, and omnipresent conversations. And I know that this metaphor is often overused in the industry, but customers expect the same level of service that they receive in the store as they do, or as they are online, right? They expect that when they walk into a store for the first time, they might have a few minutes to browse around and look at different products, but they expect the sales rep to be trained to come up to them to start to suss out, what are they actually interested in and provide recommendations that are specific to them and their specific needs. And the thing is that these sales reps are really looking at, what are these customers' intent? What are they actually interested in doing now that they're in the store itself? They're also looking at making each of these conversations unique. So they don't want to just recommend best sellers. But if they kind of get to understand, like maybe I go into a store and I'm looking for a colored shirt, they are going to recommend specific color shirts that may fit my style and may also kind of be more unique to me. And then the last piece, not super relevant to the metaphor, but is always super important, is really being able to meet customers wherever they are from an online perspective. I mentioned this earlier, but customer preference in terms of channel that they're interacting through is becoming increasingly important. And obviously this varies by generation as well. So we're seeing like a lot of the social and the channels like SMS also become increasingly important over over recent years. And so the thing is when we talk about these proactive, personalized, and omnipresent conversations, the first question we get is always, okay, but I have to hire an entire team to actually support out these conversations. And the fantastic news is that with top top providers like Zowie, you're able to actually automate the majority of these conversations. You can now automate 60, 70, 80% of conversations that are happening, and that pulls from real-time customer data in order to really personalize these conversations specifically to each customer. And when it comes to omnipresent conversations, this also allows you to support conversations across any channel. And just to kind of transition this a little bit, when we are thinking about how we actually continue to have these conversations and provide these conversations with customers for brands, we're thinking about different ways that we can actually integrate them into top performing channels. And so I'm excited to introduce Maciek, who's going to talk a little bit about one of our newest channels that we're now supporting with an integration with Klaviyo. And he's going to give a quick demo of how that solution works.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stefan. Really nice to see everyone today. So let's get into the weeds. I will start my screen share. And here we go. So I'm in the Klaviyo panel right now. And as you can see, I scheduled my first huge SMS campaign to myself. When I reach out to this customer and say, hey, Maciej, hey, first name, there is our summer sale. This is a 20% off code for May. Get it right now. We know and we're used to that this kind of communication is being sent out massively to your customers to personalize this interaction to make sure that they are receiving the latest offer from your side. And whenever these customers were replying to you, you were able to use this conversations tab to get and provide them immediate support straightforward from Klaviyo. Thanks to Klaviyo integration and thanks to what Klaviyo offered to us as a partner, we're able today to not only receive all of this communication at Zowie, but also to make sure that there is always a team, in most of the cases from your customer experience, customer service team, who is well trained to handle this like one-on-one conversations. And now if we switch to Zowie, the message you will see here is immediately available at Zowie inbox. So the most important part of this integration is that we're able to receive not only the one-on-one communication between a customer and yourself through Klaviyo channel, but we also are subscribed to any kind of marketing campaigns that have been run behind the scenes. So as you can see here in the transcript of the message and conversation I was assigned as an agent, I'm getting this communication. It's clearly said that it's a marketing campaign. And as a customer receives this marketing campaign, a customer is coming to us and saying, cool, when does it expire? Through our AI-powered features, as an agent, I'm getting the summary, hey, the user wants to know when the 20% discount code for May expires. And now we not only handling this channel in one place, among the other channels connected to Zowie, but we also have access to a lot of details from the Klaviyo customer profile. So let's start with marketing. On the marketing panel, you can see exactly what's the current status of subscription. You can see that in this case, Maciek is subscribed to all of the channels. We have ability to unsubscribe this customer, but if the customer is subscribed, we can always subscribe the customer. So through this part of the integration, you can make sure that whenever you have a successful conversation with your customer on the customer support ticket, you can always ask them if they would like to stay in touch, and you can manually subscribe them to receive marketing communications through Klaviyo. The other thing, in order to support this customer, there is some kind of code, but as an agent, I may not know exactly when this code expires. So with our integration here, we're able to pull all the code that have been generated by Klaviyo for any kind of marketing campaigns. And here we can see that there was some kind of past expired code in January this year, but the code they receive is June 1st. So they have still a couple of days to receive it, to use it. Here we can see that as an agent, I replied to this message that, hey, Maciej, it will expire soon. You still have a time to find your summer set. And here we can see that I'm getting another follow-up message on this from this customer. So do you have any t-shirts as a part of your summer collection? And here Another part of our integration is Klaviyo predictive analysis. So if you're using this part of Klaviyo product, you can get a great insight of this customers, their buying intent and buying prediction. I know that Dan is going to deep dive into this in a couple of minutes, but just to show you what kind of intel and insights I can get as an agent that really make me understand with whom I'm talking is that we have a historical customer lifetime value and predicted customer lifetime value. We know what is the expected total lifetime value of this customer. One of my favorite, and it's amazing part that Klaviyo's AI is able to deliver, is the time between orders. So I know that this customers based on average, it took them about 37 days, and the expected next order day is in 11 days. So this is probably why I sent this marketing campaign to this customer to a little warm them up and to get them back to our website. And here you can even say that one of the important pieces is a churn probability. This is super important because we're able to understand if we're talking with a person who is our, let's say, promoter and is able to, like, is willing to buy some kind of additional products, or maybe I'm talking to a person who is rather close to churn, and this is my moment when your customer service agents team can get these insights and can use them to handling the specific interactions with your customers. So as you can see, with all of these integrations, we're getting like the full track record of any kind of interactions that happen through SMS channel. The most important part now, as the marketing world and the customer service world were a little disconnected, for this integration, they will be all connected in one place because customer service team is getting all the insights they need. And behind the scenes, what's important, Zowie is also pushing a lot of information to Klaviyo. So in Klaviyo customer profile, you will see events that customer connected to customer service team, and maybe you as a marketers would like to exclude customers who have any kind of open ongoing support conversation from marketing outreach. So that's all from my side. More than happy to deep dive into specific, but I know that we will have a lot of great topics to cover. So let's move forward with Stefan. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that, Maciek. Cool. Awesome. Well, I'd love to also reintroduce and invite Dan up on stage to talk a little bit about both himself and Klaviyo. And yeah, I'll give you a few seconds to do that.
Yeah, totally. So my name is Dan Caldwell. I'm the team lead for technology partnerships here at Klaviyo. So I work with our wonderful integration partners like Zowie. And for Klaviyo, Klaviyo powers smarter digital relationships. That is our mission. And a big part of that is having really good data to be able to facilitate those conversations, both in the channels that Klaviyo is known for, email, SMS being the primary ones, but then also sharing those insights with platforms like Zowie to power really good conversations on the support side as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I actually have a question for you right off the bat, because I'd love to kick off a little bit of discussion. And Maciek, I'd love to get your thoughts on this as well. But Dan, how do you think about newly released Klaviyo Zowie, or how do you think the newly released Klaviyo Zowie integration can help marketing, e-commerce, and support teams deliver better customer experiences?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes down to it, like when we think about talking with our customers, you want to talk to your customers like you know them. And that's a quality interaction. And to do that, you need to know good information about them, and you can facilitate that. And with the right tools, we're enabling that for our customers. So like I was saying before, we enable that on the Klaviyo side with email and SMS, but you have similar conversations on the support side of things. And what is all too common is those interactions and the history with those interactions are siloed. You have marketing doing marketing things, and you have customer support doing customer support things. But if you share that information and you intertwine, you have a better outcome. So we talked about a little bit of that in the demo and just how that comes to life. We'll go into it a little bit later in this, but at a high level, that's what we're trying to accomplish with this integration.
Cool. Maciek, any thoughts you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, fully aligned with Dan, and like we're already testing this integration with a lot of our customers, and they are super excited because finally they are getting exactly what Dan you said, that they are getting this intel on what's going on, what exactly campaigns that have been run by our marketing team behind the scenes. They are not feeling disconnected. They have all the insights they need to be able to provide the best customer experience, and they know exactly that whenever customers reaching out on the chat SMS channel, they are reaching out in most of the cases in the context of the message they receive from us proactively. So we all want to have this experience that when I'm as a customer reaching back and asking a question, I don't want to get this automated message, hey, we're sorry, we're not able to handle your query, reach out to us, and giving an email channel. This is not the experience we're looking for. But for this integration, for this tech integration, we can finally get to the level that we can just even impress our customers, wow our customers that this is a marketing channel somehow, but there are still humans who can handle any kind of inquiries which is coming as a follow-up to marketing activities.
Totally. I couldn't think, or I think you're totally right. Like making sure that people are actually receiving those responses on the channel that they're reaching out on as well. Because I think you brought up a good point there, is not pushing someone towards a different support channel in order to have to handle, a marketing related request. Maybe they typed in the discount code incorrectly, making sure they actually can get access to that and then really complete that purchase. Maciek, I did have a follow-up question for you as well, which is in terms of conversations, do you think that, or where do you think there are any current missed opportunities for brands to implement more conversations into their customer flow?
Yeah. So as you said, Stefan, at the beginning, today it's all about omni-channel at scale and making sure that on all of these channels we're able to provide the personalized experience. And we know that all of e-commerce brands are using different channels to wow customers to make sure that they stay connected. And it's all about being there when customer needs. And I feel that what I said already is that this barrier between marketing and support is slowly disappearing. And I think for this kind of partnerships, it completely disappears, because whenever marketing team would like to run any kind of activities for this channel to drive more potential buyers and return back existing buyers to the website, it's a part of the activities, a part of the company goes to stay in touch, stay connected with the customers. And then whenever these customers would love to get some kind of personalized experience, we can make sure that they can finally get it. And I think it's also referring to what you said, if I'm in the retail store location, when I'm getting here, if there is no one who can engage with me, there is a very, very high chance that I will just get out of the store. But if we're making a room, we're making a space that we're starting communicating with our customers through the SMS channel, we also need to make sure that they can stay with us connected. And maybe, today they are just replying as a question upon they receive any kind of marketing communication. But we've already seen a lot of examples that the moment they start seeing that, oh, wow, I get a response, I get finally my question solved through this channel, they are using this channel to reach out back with any kind of follow-up questions in the future. We've seen it already. And we've seen already the attribution from increase in AOV, in conversion and revenue, because we are reaching out to them. They share with us our approval to use their phone number to stay connected. This is how we're making this connection even more human and more personalized.
Totally. And Dan, do you have any thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, I think just doubling down on the multiple channels, every individual customer is going to have their own preference. And between this integration, we're covering email, SMS, push notifications, there's chatbot on the website. There's a lot of opportunities to speak to the customer. A customer may have their own preference, so you want to make sure that all those options are available. But Stefan, like we were saying before, most customers are touching multiple of these channels. So you want to make sure that they're working in tandem, they're sending a similar message and those type of things, and also enabling more. I know that the adding a subscriber through Zowie is a huge thing for the Klaviyo marketers, growing that list of merchants that they could then connect with later on with email and SMS, whereas they may just start with a chatbot in Zowie. That's like a marketer's dream, to bring those conversations onto multiple channels. And so it's a huge aspect that our customers are excited about.
Totally. And I think going back to what we also talked about a bit during the presentation, automation, this is obviously huge, making sure that a lot of these requests from customers can be automatically handled. Because I think it can be daunting at first to think, I have to add, 3 new channels I have to constantly manage conversations from, but it's really doing it in a way that's scalable for, enterprise e-commerce brands. So that's definitely, I think it's a really good call out. The thing I do want to ask Dan, you next about is a bit about personalization, and specifically one thing that Maciek covered during the demo, which is Klaviyo's predictive analytics. Can you tell us a little bit more about Klaviyo's predictive analytics and its role in kind of effectively delivering personalized experience to customers, and really how this impacts revenue, and looking forward, how this can also impact support?
Yeah, I mean, both Zowie and Klaviyo are heavily invested in the AI space, and the predictive analytics fits under that umbrella of Klaviyo AI. And been a big part of what we've done. We've had the predictive analytics for quite a while. We're expanding on the AI use cases, but specifically on the predictive analytics side, yeah, it goes back to that general theme of knowing who your customers are and having better engagement. But to like get a little bit more specific, when you know that, hey, they're likely to have a next order coming up in the next 15 days or the next 3 days, that's a great opportunity to send a message and reach out to that customer to help increase that conversion rate for that next order. Like that is a big time strategy that we see work. On the flip side of that as well, when you see that like churn prediction, somebody with a high churn prediction, like that's probably a sensitive customer. This is one that we want to speak to, probably a little bit different than the person who's in the loyalty program who has low predictive churn probability. Like that's the type of customer, hey, let's grow. They probably really care about this new collection that is coming out versus the one who is likely to churn. Like you want to be a little bit more sensitive in that conversation and have a really nice personal touch. Maybe don't send them the upsell message at that time. Win them back, see what's going on there. Engage them in a slightly different way. So that's all this type of stuff that we've been facilitating inside of Klaviyo with email and SMS, combining those channels. But now we're excited to push those type of insights into Zowie, so that is extended into the customer support channel.
Yeah.
Ashok, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a perfect blend of this because we're pulling a lot of data from Klaviyo and making them available to agents. So they don't need to have access to Klaviyo panel, but they can also leverage a lot of insights, which can make them much more successful in their job because they are getting this AI insights, as you said, done to really, really understand the context of the customer and seeing, okay, what is the churn risk? What's the lifetime value of this customer? When can we expect the next order? So this is so great for agents, but also on the other side, as Daniel said, like we're also pushing back events and updating profile parameters in Klaviyo. So you can use it to build specific segments of your customers based on this data and also engage with them. Imagine that at the end of the day, we can also leverage it that whenever we recognize that there is any kind of closed ticket, support request on Zowie side, we can use Klaviyo to send out any kind of follow-up NPS score to get some kind of updates and understanding how did we do as a team, what exactly was the experience of this customer after having any kind of communication with us through any kind of other channel. And it's also important what Daniel said is, sorry, it's also important what he said is like that Zowie is not pushing this data only for SMS or email. If this customer is contacting on any kind of social media channel or is contacting on the web chat, we'll be also pushing this information to Klaviyo. So imagine that this integration give you marketers a lot of additional insights of the interactions that your customers are doing across not only SMS, email channel, but also from all of the other channels that Zowie is already connected to.
Yeah, and you brought up a good. We've talked a lot about some of the data within Klaviyo going into Zowie, but I think just another really special part of this integration is that it's a two-way integration. And so it isn't just that information going from Klaviyo to Zowie. Then what happens with Zowie, the ticket close and NPS response, all that data then gets pushed into Klaviyo, which you could create segments for, but it also feeds the predictive analytics and the other AI models that we have on our side. So Klaviyo is making Zowie smarter with what it's trying to do, then Zowie is making Klaviyo smarter in what we're doing, and it just continues to compound in the effectiveness with the integration overall.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah, no, I love that. And it's definitely the two-way thing is super important to call out, and as well as we didn't cover it in the beginning, but the importance of also customer support driven revenue is increasing, and I know brands are looking at how can we continue to use our customer support teams in order to kind of generate more revenue for our business. And I think that there's really it's a better together story in two senses, both from the platforms making each other better, but it also kind of helps break down that silo between the two internal teams. Dan, I have one final question. Maciek, I'm going to ask you the same question as well, but from after we kind of talked through a bit about the new integration as well as any opportunities here, what are kind of the three top action items from your perspective that you would do following this conversation, and kind of where do you see the key opportunities, or what are the key opportunities that people should be thinking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's primarily taking action on what we've been talking about. I think a lot of this stuff is a no-brainer, and it would just help everybody. So who are using both platforms. So like step one, if I'm in the audience or if I'm a customer of Klaviyo and Zowie, install the integration. That's a good start to these things. Now the data is going back and forth. I think step two for that is understanding how exactly can I use this. And I think there's a little bit of training. And so if I am a manager of customer supports, I'm putting some time on with my team to go in a deep dive into what's the information that's being sent over? What are you going to see in Zowie with these customer interactions that we have today? And what does that mean? And kind of go really tactically into what that is. Like, for example, if you see the upcoming next order is within 10 days and you have that customer interacted, make sure to bring up that next order and strike that conversation about it to help increase the conversion rate. If you see somebody who is not subscribed to email and SMS, do your marketing team a favor and see if you can gain consent to subscribe them to those channels. If they do see that there is a high churn risk, understand, hey, this is the sensitive customer. Versus on the flip side of that, Stephanie talked about wanting to drive more revenue through support channels. Hey, this is that perfect person. I started my career in support. I know that delicate balance between supporting a customer in a tough situation versus driving incremental revenue. And with this type of insight, you could kind of be able to separate those paths. Where's my revenue opportunity? Where's my retention opportunity? And that's what this information is going to provide. So I think doing a deep dive training into your support teams so they know how to do that. And then third, if you're working with customer support and less so on the marketing side, go make friends with your marketing team. Dive into these use cases. Like I said, this is a two-way integration. Both platforms are being smarter. Strategize on this stuff. On the marketing side, like they're going to want to know if somebody had a poor ticket with customer support, that's an opportunity to launch a win-back campaign within Klaviyo. On the flip side, if it was a very positive one and we got some insights into their interest in upcoming collections, like we could trigger a flow to let them know about upcoming orders or upcoming releases that we have, or product recommendations that they may be interested in that is personalized to that user. So a lot of use cases that you can do, but you really want to make sure that you're connected with your marketing team if you're in customer support and vice versa. Don't be siloed, strategize together. We're talking about a few use cases here, but I'm sure folks in the audience right now have a few others that we haven't thought of yet, and you will when you strike up these conversations.
Awesome. Maciek, anything you want to add to that?
Dan perfectly covered everything, and I'm very excited. We're already seeing like the different scenarios and the different use cases. So for the align what Dan you said, and I think that this component of spending like an hour or two on educating the team how they can leverage all of these insights is crucial, because literally like this Klaviyo predictive analysis is providing some kind of insights we cannot find from the other tools. So, and these are like very powered by AI. So this is exactly how the way we can make these agents super powered by AI and like how they can really leverage the data to make their work much more successful.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate both your time. I think we're coming up just against time right now, but I just want to give a huge thank you to both Maciek and Dan for joining us today, talking a little bit about the new Klaviyo integration with Zowie. So I've been super excited to be here. Thank you again for your time. And we'll make sure if you were potentially late to this session, we'll share a recording afterwards so you can catch the first couple minutes as well. With that, thank you again, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks all.